everyone, welcome to MetalNet. I'm excited today because I have something different for you, something that I've never done before. So I recently had on an amazing guest, Patrick Stone, who's the lead singer of a phenomenal band called Budderside. So if you haven't seen that episode, you absolutely need to watch because we go in depth on Patrick and a little bit about the history of Budderside. But today I have almost the entire band with me, so we can learn a little bit more about everybody else, their process, their videos, and Spiritual Violence, their amazing album, which, again, if you haven't heard it yet, you need to get. How are you guys doing?
Real good.
Doing great.
Doing great.
Awesome. So I'm going
to feel good.
I feel good.
Really good. I'm going to have everyone introduce themselves so that everybody at home, if they don't already know you, gets to know who they are. Let's start with the bass player.
Gabe Naska, I play the bass and sing backing vocals.
Nice. I'm Jeff, and I play drums.
I'm Sam. I play guitar and guitar solos, and noises come out of my mouth sometimes.
Patrick Stone, the ringmaster.
I want to tell you, I had mentioned this to Patrick, but I wanted to let you guys know as well. I'm on Instagram. I see Carla Harvey post this little video that she was in, and I watch it, and it's Amber Alert, and it's amazing. Like, I am obsessed with this video. I went and bought it on iTunes. I've watched it a million times. It's absolutely stunning, and of course, the music is amazing. So let's just start there. What was it like for you guys to go in and make that video for this album?
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was a long night.
It was a long night, but we're just so used to hanging out with each other that it just went by very quickly.
Yeah. How long did it take? How long did the whole video take to film?
I can't remember what time we started during the day, but I know that I got home at about like 8 or 8:30 in the morning the next day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think call time was 1:30, but I've been there.
Like PM.
I've been there for about 3 days straight, setting up the tents and the Ferris wheel and getting all of the props in place and everything like that. But call time, I think, was around 2 o'clock for the band, and then all of the other actors and whatever else had to be there by like 5.
4 or 5, yeah.
But we were rolling camera just before it got dark.
Yeah, like
right?
6 or 7, right?
Yeah, and that camera didn't stop filming until I think
6 or 7 a.m.
6 or 7 a.m.
Yeah,
sun was coming up and everything.
Yeah, and I was pissed that it was over. It was so much fun. I was running around hugging and kissing everybody so much. I almost got, I almost got.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, it was great. It was so fun.
So when you guys make your videos, when you make a video like Amber Alert or any of your others, and they're all beautiful, what's the process like for art direction? Is this something that the band works on? Are there a couple of you that are more into that sort of thing? Or is this something that your label is heavy-handed in?
That's like Patrick's thing.
Yeah.
Patrick Stone,
really.
The label only really got involved with one video, and that was like spur of the moment. It was crazy. We woke up at Wacken, the Wacken Festival, and our label owns that festival. So we woke up and we had some CDs coming in. So we met at the tent, and then they asked me if we wanted to shoot a video, and they had this idea already set in place. But that was the only time. That was back in the first debut record. But other than that, it's really like it starts with it's inspired by the lyrics really, and then the imagination just starts to take on this idea, and then visions and pictures start flashing into my mind, and then before I know it, I'm so excited about it, I can't let go of it. It becomes exactly what it is that we release. But now we're starting to, with everything involving the band, it's all a group effort. So I really try to, like I'm going to try in this interview too, to just bite my lip and let the other guys kind of have this creative flow, and when that happens, the results have been amazing, like all the recordings that we're doing and stuff like that. So that's starting to feed into the videos. The latest one that we just recorded together was inspired by some very tragic things, but led to a very beautiful video. But still, we're still talking spiritual violence. So yeah, usually the concept comes from God. It just comes from anywhere really. But we're starting to use each other and bounce ideas off of one another. We're actually talking about filming a video next week, and the idea is pretty crazy. We can't wait to share that one with you.
Ultimately, all just ends in insanity in one way or another. So coming up with the idea or filming the video, it's all just fun and crazy in one way or another.
Yeah, it's got to be bigger than the last one, which is you know, we kind of set the bar pretty damn high with our videos. So it's getting hard to outdo ourselves. You have to find unique new ideas so that one video doesn't look like the last one or one you've done before. So
anyways, shout out to Vicente, our great director, and all everyone
Everybody.
involved, because all we really do when we shoot music videos is we just have a bunch of beer and, you know, hang out.
Hey,
yeah,
So it's fun
And
for
by
us.
they,
It's
we
a lot of
mean
work for the other people, you know.
I
I
mean,
mean, 50-50.
the last
Yeah.
four from the videos, just from the ones we've released since December, 4 videos we've released, we've gotten we've become finalists, meaning we're down to like the last 3 as finalists in 13 different film festivals across the world, and we've won 2 of them. Amber Alert took first place in one, and Zen took first place in another. So, and we're still submitting ourselves and still getting you know, finding out that we're in the running. So I mean, I never planned or had any kind of goal to be some kind of wonderful or, you know, recognized video producer, but it's starting to become something that's on the resume for sure.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations on that. I've been seeing those posts on Instagram. So congratulations, and definitely well earned, because they are really beautiful, really thoughtful videos. They definitely don't feel like you just got them out, slapped them out there and just had them, you know, done for the sake of having them done. They're really beautiful and they each relates to the song. So I'm really excited to see what you guys are doing next. So have you already done all the pre-production, the planning and all that, and it's just a matter of getting out there and filming it for the next one?
well, we're working on the planning and the pre-production. It's like, well, we're supposed to do it next week. We kind of have an idea, but we're kind of trying to figure out if we're going to do that, if we're going to do something else. So it kind of depends. Certain ones are kind of more thought out and the ideas there, like this is what's happening. And then other times it's like, well, what are we doing? So,
Yeah, well, I mean, there's always a storyboard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There always has to be
Yeah.
something happening. Some kind of story has to walk you through the video, or else I feel people will lose interest, you know? And I think that's why ours are so appealing, because when you start to watch it, there's something happening to some character that, you know, there's an arc, just like in a movie, you know, it's just like it's a role that you play. So there's something happening from beginning to end. There's some kind of middle, beginning, and an end, you know? So, so this one is kind of, it's on the fringes. We set a date for next week to film it, and all the pieces aren't quite there yet. The storyboard's not there. So these guys,
we'll
actually,
figure it out.
it was when they
We're
showed
getting
up,
there.
Okay.
Either way,
Yeah.
things are rolling
Yeah.
forward on.
Things are rolling.
it'll work
It'll be
out.
fun.
It
Yeah,
takes some
we're
time. Yeah. Definitely, you need that. You need every frame in your head worked out before you get on set, or else it's not gonna come out right.
Yeah, absolutely. Do each of you have a favorite so far of which you've released video wise?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's yours, Sam?
Mine would definitely be Amber Alert. They're all, I mean, I really like all of them, but Amber Alert was just, it was all the how everything turned out couldn't have been any better. So that's my favorite.
I mean, we literally had Matt Penfield dressed up as the devil. We had the people from American Horror Story painted in red, his whole body,
Amazing.
Yeah.
you know, and he was dressed up as the devil, like, and then not to
walking
mention all the you know, acrobats and, like, you know, fire breathers and all sorts of different stuff going on. Like, there's a lot going on in that video.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. I think that's my favorite video.
Yeah, if you looked in any direction while we were filming that, you missed something epic, because something epic was happening to your right, your left, behind you, in front of you,
So
at
much
all
going
time.
on.
I'm just so grateful that the camera caught, you know, so many killer shots, you know.
Well, because that's
Yeah.
special too, because that has all these other people in it doing all these other awesome things. The contortionist, the
Yeah.
Cirque du Soleil person above us, Matt Pinfield, all of our other friends that
Fitz,
came and were in it.
Carla
Yeah,
Carla.
So it was, that one's pretty special all
and
around.
Rob as the
Yeah.
Cupid,
Our buddy Rob, yeah.
and Lil Gabe as the magician. What do you call it? The host of the show?
Yeah.
The ringleader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a lot of fun to have so many people involved on this one idea, and it just everybody involved just absolutely fucking killed it.
And then when it comes out, you're sharing it with a lot more people too. It's not just us against the world. It's like there's this whole community of people that we've now become friends with, and we
Yeah.
have a mutual respect for. And it's really cool, because if we keep the concepts changing from one video to the next, every time we release something, we're going to have a new kind of genre of, you know, I mean, you know, for lack of better words, the hashtags connected to every post will be different. Like this one was so circus oriented and performer oriented and you know, Cirque du Soleil and circus and this and that. So it's like we hit a whole batch of people that I never would have imagined we would touch. And you know, the next one's going to have its own, you know, its own batch of new things, you know, and the one before that had its own batch of new things. Like the whole horror vibe kind of came into play with this phase. Spiritual Violence really brought in a whole horror kind of vibe to the band, and the videos kind of embraced that. And yeah, the next one really doesn't have any. Well, we'll get to that when we release that one. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we'll talk about that.
Oh man, I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, but hopefully hopefully every time we release something, it becomes our favorite because we just want to keep getting them better and better.
Right. Right.
I will say the one that's coming, the first one that's coming from the new stuff, even though we're not talking about that yet, is my favorite. So
okay, so that's like the next favorite. How about you guys? Is it fair to say that Amber Alert was your favorite from this round of videos? Everyone's
100%.
really excited.
Yeah. Wide Awake was a lot of fun though too.
Yeah.
It turned to be a lot of fun. That was a crazy night as well. But to go back to Amber Alert, it was awesome because I got to be paired up with fire breathers, and that was insane to be that close to it. We just had to keep reshooting that, but it was so much fun, and it was just felt like Gene Simmons up there. It was insane.
Yeah, it took him months to grow his eyebrows back.
Yeah, it got close. There were a couple times it got close. But,
That's amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think you brought up a good point, Sam. You know, having other people there gives it more energy. You know, I don't know. It's like playing at a live stream versus playing to a crowd. You know, when you're playing to a crowd, people are rocking out. You end up rocking out harder. You know, like that's kind of how it felt there. But you know, it also felt like a circus with everything that was going on. So you know,
yeah,
it was exciting to film. You know, like at the other one, Wide Awake. The cool aspect about filming that was that we were able to like go into like the old abandoned LA zoo, like, and we went into the cages and like we explored all of, you know, the area and where the animals used to go eat and sleep, you know, like, and that was interesting, you know.
Yeah, we really wanted
really
to,
cool.
that band, that video was really the coming out of the new lineup, and like we really wanted to show off just us. So we actually didn't want a lot of other characters around. We wanted people to absorb what the new concept and the image basically of the band and the feel
and the energy.
Yeah, the energy
Yeah.
of us. We just wanted people to be able to kind of hone in on that. But like making videos, period, it's just my favorite. It's like it's kind of like my favorite, and they're almost like seasons. If I can make 4 a year, I'll be really excited because you know, with every video, just a whole new barrage of like things that need to get done, and then you know the talented people you get to meet that you have to hire in order to get certain things done. It's really cool.
Except we live in California, so there's one season all year round, and it's just a little hotter and a little colder.
That's true. That's true. Also, so for Wide Awake, were those real animal cages that you were in, Patrick?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, if you look it up, like back in the 60s, there's this photo we were like looking at.
Not anymore.
With the polar bear.
Yeah.
The polar bear, like it was just so close to the crowd, and like the little fence was so tiny, but like for some reason, maybe it was doped up. I don't know. For some reason, it wouldn't attack the people. And we went in there. It was awesome. That's where we filmed. Like you could see like the shape of the cave, like the cage. It's not really a cage. It's just like
It was the bear
the
area.
ruins or whatever.
Yeah.
they call it.
Yeah, I'm sure it was fenced off before.
Yeah.
But the cages up top were like monkey cages. You know what I mean? I was crawling all over them like a monkey. I definitely picked
Those
up
are
on
still
those
cages,
spots
too.
from there. But yeah, it was the old Griffith Park Zoo. So and it was supposedly very haunted, and we felt that every time we had to change from one location to the next. There were like 4 different setups or 4 or 5 different setups there. And every time you turn off all the equipment, turn off the generators, and walk from one place to the next, it was pitch black out there, and it was kind of scary and
really cool.
You know, really cold that night. Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Speaking of videos, I heard one of you guys told a story about how Jeff wanted to quit because he thought
I knew that was coming.
Ariel, so I want to hear the story, and I want to hear it. I want to hear Jeff's side.
Next question.
Next
We don't talk
question.
about that.
The backstory of that, again, it was because that was my first video with Budderside, and that was like my introduction to the madness that is these videos.
That is this group of human beings.
And it's amazing. That's awesome. But come the time, I pull up and he's like, all right, you got to put your drums there. And I was like, I had to take my drums on a hike. And nobody told me I had to take my drums on a hike.
So then he was like freaking out because he's like, is every single shot going to be like
and
this?
that was the first of 3 locations. We're like, oh no. And it's an overnight. It was a lot going on. But these guys really pulled through and they really helped me out that night. And it turned to be such a fun experience.
And then it was easy. It was the hard,
real quick.
The hard one was at first.
Yeah.
And then we stopped, we had some pizza. And
you got great pizza.
There's a lot of
kept us going.
There's a lot of, you hear me say, trust me a lot.
There was
video shoots, like, you know, because there's it's hard to, like, you know what I mean? It kind of, a lot of it's up here, you know what I mean? And our director's always too. Vicente's confident as well. You know, he could be standing
it was so cool that
3 feet of mud and his tripod could be falling and he has to have somebody else holding it just to get the shot right. But he's still got this look on his face because he knows the end result is going to be phenomenal. You know, he can see it in his head. I can see it in my head. Sometimes it's not really hammered out with these guys. You know what I mean? We don't discuss exactly what it is we're going for. It's just, Jeff, carry your drums up.
Like, take your drums here. Like, this is round 1.
You know, all the way up this hill, and then, you know, it's a lot to. I think now they know. I mean, again, that video shoot was nothing compared to the one we just went and did, and what that entailed and what it took to get up there and do it was far beyond what happened that first night with Wide Awake. But to be thrown into the fire,
it was a lot colder.
You know, it's just, I think Jeff and everybody else in the group now definitely see the benefits of what it takes to put a little bit of backbone into it.
Yeah, 100%. And again, like, these guys really pulled through and they helped me out a lot that night.
So speaking of processes, whether it's spiritual violence or what you're working on next, what's the process like for the 5 of you? And by the way, we never introduced the 5th person because he's not here. But who is the 5th member of your band? Who's the 5th member?
Logan College.
He's
He's moving today.
Okay, and he's your other guitar player.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your process as a band, especially now that you've been together for a little while. You've gone through, made an album, made a bunch of videos. What's your creative process like when you're working on the next album? So, for example, are you guys more, we're going to come up with a concept and like, let's put the concept together? Or are you more, let's all show up and write whatever comes organically and figure it out as we go along? What's your process for creating an album as a band?
It's kind of, I mean, it happens a few different ways. So, I mean, we did just start kind of jamming together and working on some new ideas. And, you know, like somebody comes in with a riff that they have, and then we work on some other parts. Sometimes it's like, I mean, at least myself, I demo stuff a lot just on my own and just, you know, kind of put together ideas and maybe send like a riff or two, and then hopefully somebody else can add some stuff. Or, when we took stuff, we have some new songs in the can already. When we took those to the producer that we worked with, Matt Good, he ended up bringing a lot of stuff to life, even though we came in with some pieces. And yeah, so.
Yeah, not to get too deep into
not to get too into that, yeah. Even though,
even though you're almost there. Well, how about when you were making Spiritual Violence? How long had you guys been together, the 5 of you as a band, when you started going into the studio together for the songs on that album?
Sam and I were together beforehand. Actually, Sam was my first pick for, you know, when the group, I was standing on stage at Lemmy's 70th, and there was no lead guitar player in the band. And my idea was that, you know, you don't need leads in your music to be successful, which was, you know, I think that was just because I wasn't capable of them. Anyway, there was a Johnny Cash cover that I was doing back then that we still do now. And Slash, Zach Wilde, Steve Vai, and Lemmy were all standing in the front row at this thing, watching my band. And I literally had to play a lead on the guitar for Johnny Cash's Folsom Prison Blues. And it's that there, and anyway, in that moment, I realized I really needed a lead guitar player. Those guys were looking up at me, and I'm like, what am I doing in front of these guys? And I'd seen Sam around the jams. Anyway, I recruited him immediately, and he played I think it was pretty much our debut. No, it wasn't our debut Budderside show. anyway, we opened for Steel Panther at the Roxy, and it was amazing. And to me, Sam was in the band at that point, but a tour came up and Sam was not able to go with us. He had to finish school at MI. So I had to take out I took on some other members to fill in the gaps. And anyway, fast forward a couple tours later, Sam was finally able to nestle in. And then we brought in Logan, and Gabe came next, and Jeff, I think Jeff and Gabe around the same time, right?
I remember you guys played with at the Whiskey when I was in Royal Distortion. I think you played that residency. Yeah. And then we started talking, and I got super into the band. And then me, Sam, Jeff, and Logan were doing this Nirvana thing and other covers, at the Sunset Jam at the Vibe Room. And then, it was just a natural thing that happened. And then, there you go, Spiritual Violence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam and I worked like crazy on Spiritual Violence. About halfway through the recording process, Sam came in and took over the guitars on that thing. We were doing a great job. Jay was doing a great job, but Sam came in and just kind of like, I don't know how to say it. It's like you have like aircraft on this planet. I often do this with his playing. It's just like, it's the difference between like, flying a jet plane or flying a spaceship. Like that's what it felt like. Like we were in this atmosphere, and then all of a sudden the whole thing just blew up into this other sound, this other feeling. So Sam kind of came in and just put his stamp on everything. And
Rushing.
yeah. And then as we released the album, the other members kind of became solid, and we started touring Spiritual Violence all together.
Then our RV broke down.
We only got close.
We almost died. See the on the Pardon Me video, the last scene is the RV going to heaven, right? The Motorhead. That actually happened in real life.
Is it really?
It was very messed up, but like we made it through, and we didn't argue once on tour, although that whole thing went down, and we had to make our way back to LA. Yeah, on your birthday. I was just about to like cheers Jeff. It's like, happy birthday, Jeff. And as soon as we hit the tequila shots together, the tranny fell off, and the RV was stuck on the side of the road.
Train blew out of the bottom.
Yeah.
Literally,
sounded like a tire.
Wow.
Yeah, it literally punched a hole in the entire bottom of the RV. I mean, this piece of equipment, drivetrain is like, it's the size of an entire car.
Drive shaft.
Drive shaft. Yeah. So
I'm the one guy who doesn't drive, and I remember the
It
word.
busted-
I had no idea.
it busted the propane tank fuel line. It busted the fuel line. It busted
That could have been bad.
the generator.
But then LA Gun saw us on the side of the road and came back to pick us up. So thank you, Tracy and Phil and all the crew, Fitz and everyone there.
Yeah, to say something nice about Logan, he stayed with me that night in the RV until the tow truck finally came the next morning to
Because we had to be in Pennsylvania the next night, didn't we?
yeah. So we literally towed this broken down RV that we just bought. We just spent about $12,000 on this thing, and it blew up about, what was that, the fourth show, second, third, second?
It was like it was my second show, and it must have been the fourth show.
Yeah. So about 4 or 5 shows in, it was sad. We had to say goodbye to that thing. We left it there. I haven't seen it since. I think we just saw it pop up for sale, right? Like the place that we left it at finally got ownership of it and fixed it, and now I think they're selling it, and they're probably making a few $1,000s on it. I hope they are, because we just left it there. We just left it there for them. We rented a van. And
all the way from San Antonio.
To be honest, that's when the fun actually started. I felt like we were all crammed in like we are sitting now. Yeah. That's what it was like to be together in the van. For the rest of that was like another month and a half, I think, right?
And it's funny, there's like all these documentaries now talking about how you have to go through that, the Dave Grohl documentary, Life on the Road or whatever. It's like every band has to go through that, you know what I mean? Like to get to,
the hotel rooms, and like, oh man, I would take out my phone and I would do the speed filming thing, where you film everything fast motion. Every time I get out of my car, we got to put that into like a compilation video sometime, because I'd get out and like all of the trips back and forth through the lobbies and up the stairs and down the stairs and all this stuff, and it's just like hours and hours of footage just of us getting in and out of a van to get into a room, to get back out of the room into the van to go to the show. It's chaos, and it's crazy how we enjoy doing something like that, but it's only because that we have each other. I mean, I've toured with other groups, and it's brutal, you know what I mean? The guilt trips and the fights and the grudges and the anger and all of the things that people hold back and suppress or let out and you fight over. It hasn't happened with us yet. Anyway.
We did drive that minivan all the way from San Antonio to LA, which is like a 24-hour drive.
That was long.
We got way off subject too.
That's
You
okay.
did.
But I did want to ask Sam, how is it that you don't have a driver's license?
Because
he gets out of driving the tour bus.
Yeah,
that way.
because
Yeah, that's how I got out of that. It's driving the boat.
it's by design.
It
No,
sounds
I'm
like
actually like I've never driven. I've kind of started learning a little bit here and there, but like I've never driven. I'm 26 years old and I don't have a driver's
He's
license.
also
and I
never
don't
had a
drive
beer
car.
or a cigarette. Look at that.
Right. Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
True.
It's
Yeah,
true.
that's true.
He just
Nah.
focused on guitar. That's what he does. It's the one thing.
That's it.
That's what
That's
I got.
That's
I've
why
never-
he's so good.
I've never smoked a cigarette in my life or been drunk either. So there's two of us now. Two whole metalheads
You're not
in
alone.
that whole world. So you guys definitely you guys have a good chemistry and y'all came together really well. Patrick, just to jump back to that conversation about how for the longest time you really didn't want to have a lead guitarist. How are you feeling? I mean, obviously he's sitting right next to you, so you can't say too many bad things. But how are you feeling in general about, having a band with 5 members, not 4, and having a lead guitarist and somebody who can play those parts that you at one point really weren't interested in having in your music?
I just feel like along with sobriety, I give a lot of credit to everything. I mean, everything that I get in life is due to the fact that I think I finally kind of set my mind on doing something, bettering myself, bettering the world around me. That all comes into play. The evolution of this band is the evolution of this band. And it's, it started with me and my guitar and forcing this thing to happen, this dream that I've had my entire life. And it just keeps getting better. And every time that I get together with these guys, a lot more responsibility comes, is taken off of my shoulders and goes on to theirs. So, the other day we were in rehearsal at Mates and I was sitting there on the couch and first I was on stage with them and they were writing a new song and I feel myself like just trying to chirp over, just trying to mumble or, sing some kind of a melody over something that was so wicked that they were working on. And then I just stopped myself and I was like, what am I doing? That's how I write lyrics and melodies the best, is when I sit back and I listen and I focus and I wait for that voice or that, that sound to come in from the gods or whatever it is. But long story short, I'm sitting on the couch and I'm watching these guys hammer out something and I'm just thinking to myself, wow, this is what I've always wanted. You know what I mean? These fucking 4 guys are mine. They're performing and writing something that, I dedicated my entire life to guitar too, but it's more of like a Creedence Clearwater kind of a thing, a 3-chorded kind of an idea where it's like I have a message and I have a story to tell, and the guitar just kind of helps me put a melody around that story, or the drums or whatever. I mean, I've learned how to play every instrument basically a little bit, but only enough to where like I can pick up what it is I do best, and that is tell a story. You know what I mean? I've been through so much, and I feel like I have this really interesting perspective enough that it's something that I feel like the world will benefit from, whether it's, making them feel better or getting them excited or having something to relate to. But I just cut the corners as much as I could to get a song written. And if you tear away everything that these guys do, underneath is 3 chords, 1 chord, 2 chords, sometimes 5 chords or whatever, but it's just a basic chord structure that sits behind a song, a bass line, or whatever it is. But when you get these guys together, there's so much more to it. It's just so much more musical. It's so much more complex. And if I can put down the guitar and allow them to do what they do, I can finally just focus even more so on that storytelling and that melody making that I do so well on top of whatever it is that they're creating. And if I don't have to worry about that, I can allow what it is that they create to kind of guide me into the emotion that's going to lead the story that I tell next.
But I think also I want to say, we're not driven by trying to sound intricate. You know what I mean? We're just trying to write good songs. And if they sound intricate, oh well. But we're there to serve the story. We're not there to try and be Rush or anything like that. So you know, that's really all I have to say. Thank you.
But also just try
Thank you for coming.
just try to have riffs that are cool and make us, you know.
Yeah, we love Sabbath. We love,
we like
you know,
riffs.
what else do we love? He loves Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
Foo Flower.
Foo
Foo
Flowers.
Fighters. I
The
love
Foo
Chili
Flowers.
Peppers. I think we both love the Chili Peppers. I don't know about Logan and Sam.
We
Logan,
don't.
Logan loves the Chili Peppers.
It's
It's not
his
his
favorite
favorite,
band.
but yeah.
But this newer song that we were writing, it's kind of funky, honestly. You know, like it's nice to add a little bit of that in there too, because like, you know, you have Zeppelin did "Trampled Underfoot" and, you know, other songs like that, which is cool.
That's a great
Yeah.
song.
They weren't
Good
just
example.
all about like the whole lot of love vibe, you know. Obviously, they went all over the place, and I think that's kind of what we're trying to do. But always keeping in mind like the melody and the idea of the song and what we're trying to say, and not, you know, trying to show off.
Yeah,
by any
it's
means,
gotta-
you know.
It's gonna ultimately be a great song and open up to a great chorus, and you know, then in between hopefully have some cool riffs that sound different, and you know, just hopefully give a good place for Patrick to sing some stuff over.
Yeah, and on top of all of it, I mean, it's just the most freeing experience to have a band like this. You know, I don't have to worry. I can be a front man, which is what I think I was born to do as well. I mean, you know, I've fronted bands for my heroes that I never would have dreamt of even meeting, much less playing with in bands. And, you know, being a front man, being shackled to a guitar and having to stand behind a mic stand an entire show was always something that felt like a burden to me more than you know, an opportunity to show off my guitar skills. So leaving that to these guys and being able to wander around the crowd and play the crowd as an instrument is just, it's the most rewarding thing ever to have this band behind me like that. So
Patrick,
yeah,
were you able to do that before, or did you always have a guitar with you when you were singing, and either in this band or other bands you've been in?
No, only in Budderside would I ever really pick up the guitar. I had one band, it was called the Top Ramen Shamans, and I took the
That's an awesome name.
It is. I took the back seat to my friend Pablo, who was an incredible songwriter, and he was just such a great lyric writer. He was like all astrology driven, and I mean, we were both lunatics. We were so high back then, and that kind of resonates with the name, obviously. But you know, he was a spiritual wise man, but we were so broke, so we were always eating Top Ramen, but we were like, you know, these spiritual guides in Hollywood. So Top Ramen Shamans. But I took a back seat to him and sang backups, and I had this 12-string Rickenbacker that I would play an electric guitar, and I played it through a basement head.
There's that.
And it was, man, I lost it, dude, along with everything else.
I want that.
But it was cool to do it then, and it was so fun, and that was liberating and free too, just to be able to sit back and, you know what I mean? It just felt like there was a little bit less responsibility, and it kind of allows you to just be a little bit more creative and play the guitar in the shadow a little bit more. But I'm really most comfortable out under the spotlight. But yeah, the only other band that I did that with is Budderside, and it's just because I had to. I always, you know, always had to teach somebody how my song went. And then I would teach them that song, and they never seemed to play it exactly how I wanted to. So I always carried that guitar to make sure that part was played correctly. And then I had to sing as well. So again, Sam came along, and finally, I mean, he was the first guy ever to pick up his guitar and like note for note play everything, every strum, every character, and every part of every phrase of every song he picked up perfectly, right tone, everything else. I finally could put my guitar down and leave it to somebody else, you know.
So just to delve in a little bit more on the songwriting bit, Patrick and I talked about this, and one thing I asked him is, are you more of that kind of scheduled songwriter where you just decide that every day at this time I'm going to write, or do you wait for inspiration? He had said he waits more for inspiration. How about the three of you, when you go in for songwriting, what's your preference for writing? How do you get to that place, and how do you kind of produce your best work?
When it happens, it happens. I mean, usually I feel like my best hour for writing riffs is somewhere between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. But no, I mean, it's just when it happens, I don't know. I personally get inspired by any sort of feeling, like whether it's, you know, feeling like maybe if you're feeling a little down or feeling, I don't really like to write riffs when I'm happy, I guess. So, but yeah, just I'll sit and I'll just try to come up with something that sounds different and then demo it out. And there's no set schedule though. Like I've known people who will be like, okay, well, I want to take some time and write right now from 2 p.m. to 3:15 p.m. And I'm like, it's just when a riff comes, a riff comes. Yeah, so.
But we've been trying to get together every Tuesday and, you know, not necessarily have a set schedule for writing, but if there is an idea lingering in the air, you know, then we just dive into it. And sometimes there's a little, you know, like someone in the band might be like, oh, that wouldn't fit, but then we try it anyways, and they make it their own, and then it ends up fitting. You know?
Totally.
So that's kind of like how I like to write, just like jamming ideas out, recording it with your iPhone, and then listening back and being like, that worked, that didn't work, maybe this part could be the bridge, you know, and figuring shit out like that. But also, like, you know, I demo stuff at home too, and then I'll send it to Sam, he'll send it back with another idea, and then I'll send it back to him, and then we do it that way too, you know.
Yeah.
But it never gets to like be a real song until we're in a room with Jeff and then he starts playing and shit, you know. That's when everything kind of, you know.
And then it goes to the next level. You know, you work with a producer and then they come in and they put their spin on it. And that's when things really get trippy and cool. It's like I look back on a batch of songs we just did, and it's like I can't, you know, you can't pinpoint exactly who wrote what. It's like we all kind of, it's just we ended up with this thing because we all put all of our energy into it. So Sam and I often get together, like my schedule is so hectic and busy, like I'm just trying to do so much, like on the business side of the band and like kind of like the producing side of the band, that I'm just constantly like, my schedule's hectic. So finding the time and the energy to really get together to write is something that he and I kind of schedule, because he lives a block away. So it's like, I really want to set aside some time. So I'll call him and I'll say, hey, let's get together for a couple hours, you know, on this night. But sometimes, you know, him and Logan or whoever comes over, Gabe too, we come over and, you know, sometimes something sparks, and then it's like, you know, we take that in with us when we go to record in the big studio with the producer, and we start listening back to stuff, and then something that we did that we weren't quite aware of, that, you know, it turns out to be like what we consider a hit. You know, we have things that like we're sitting on that we don't see them because they're not quite polished stones yet. You know what I mean? It's like, or the thing
rough
that you ideas turn into songs, you know?
Yeah. Or the thing that you thought was so great suddenly becomes like
garbage.
Oh, yeah. Like, oh wait. It gets moved to another
figure that out real quick.
Yeah, it goes into another,
they'll never see a lot of
another file.
You never know.
Yeah, but I mean, to be honest, it's like I can feel it when something's good, and then it's like if I get into the studio and somebody tries to tell me that it's not good, then I'm going to prove that it is, and then that's when sometimes lyrics get fully shifted, melodies get a little toyed with. My favorite thing is when I've got a lot of words because I'm trying to say so much, and then you get in there and you shave off so much that doesn't. It like you can say so much with less words, or even sometimes less chords or less notes. It's like when you start stripping it down, when you have so much to peel away from, you find that golden thing in the center of it, you know what I mean? And that's when you really, you know,
ether of the song.
Yeah. I do. Once we have musically, we have like a bowl full of things to pick from, or listen to. I love getting in my car and driving super fast. I mean, my mom lives up in Santa Barbara. That's my favorite thing to do, is actually get in a car and set, like I have like, let's say 4 of the demos that they put together for me, and I'll get in the car, or 400 actually. There's a file, like Sam's got so many. There's literally like, I think 200 files in one folder of Sam alone. And I can get in the car and I'll start driving to Santa Barbara. And when I find something that I like, I'm all alone, 4 o'clock in the morning, going 60 down the freaking freeway. I can just start screaming.
Smart man, nice save there. He's going the speed limit, not a mile over, rightfully so.
Isn't the limit 70 though? You're on the highway.
Still going 60.
Well,
you want to be safe?
He wants to be safe. Yeah.
Dude, please don't be on the left lane. Go to the right. Scoot over.
They're making fun of me because I get tickets when I write lyrics.
Just get saved. Yeah, if there are any cops in the audience.
So in the studio, do you guys just set up whatever amount of time you think you need and decide that you're going to get the album done, let's say a month or whatever it may be? Or do you go in like bit by bit? Do you go in, do a few songs, go back at a different time? Are you kind of like one and done? Or do you go in over a span of time until you built the album that you like?
In the current mode, it's you book a week and you come out with 4 songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we
lot of pressure,
Yeah,
and it works.
and it works.
It feeds into. Well, I love that process. You know.
It's exhausting, but
It
it's
is, but
it's amazing.
Yeah.
The results really paid off.
Yeah.
Or then there's the other one, like Spiritual Violence, where that was an incredibly long Chinese democracy-ish process.
Well, not really.
not
nothing-
really, not really. It's
The recording process was not like.
it was a few months.
The recording process was 2 months. I know.
Yeah.
I booked the time. you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
I did all the bass tracks in one day.
again,
How about
that's kind of the old with the
Yeah.
Budderside's really stepping out of the old way of thinking and into the new realm. Today's successful groups that are the most popular, you know, you can't come out with an album once a year, or even, you know, a lot of bands used to do it once every 2 years, you know, but you can't come out with an album once a year because you put it out and then it's got this shelf life and nobody pays attention to it. And why write, you know, an album full of songs that are okay and then like 2 or 3 hit songs when you could be pumping out 1 hit song every 4 weeks? And that's the new model, you know, and that's what we do. And in order to live up to that, which is the schedule that we're on now, and come September, we're going to start smashing songs down your throat that are so incredible that everybody's going to fucking freak out, including us. We're just so super excited. But then not only to have one, but to have a song coming out every 4 weeks. We're just going to keep smashing you with new epic material, and that involves getting in a room with a producer, and you have 6 days to pump out, you know, 4 songs. And if you go in with a bunch of ideas, by the time you come out, you have those songs, you know, because the guy knows what he's doing and he's getting paid a miraculous amount of money to do it. So, you know.
Pan over to that table.
Yeah.
Did the ghost come back? Because I saw you earlier. Some of you guys were looking that way, and I was just wondering if your ghost came back.
It was the craziest thing,
It
though.
was
At
really
first,
weird.
I mean, it wasn't like just a garbage bag,
shit.
but nothing.
Yeah.
You can look,
Yeah.
look in the bag too.
No.
But like,
No.
oh no! It's a box with the trash bag.
It's a
on
box.
top. And so the trash bag started moving, but not just like a small, like just like out of the blue, it just like started forming.
Baby
Pandora's
doll parts.
box.
Small
Man,
doll.
that we all saw that like flash before. Wow. Wow.
I think the ghost wants Logan's spot in the band.
Yes.
Logan didn't show up.
Logan.
Yeah, Logan's in that.
Logan's in the box.
Logan.
Definitely.
He
Button
called it at 1 minute to 3 and said,
Back to the-
I'm on my way, just
Yeah.
leaving my place. It's like, yeah, you're not getting it.
No.
All right, so I've experienced you guys on album. I've experienced you guys through your amazing videos. But I would imagine with a band like yours and the kind of music that you guys make, that the live show is the real deal for you guys.
Yes.
So tell me,
Live show,
what can we
boys.
expect for the live show? What are we going to see and what are we going to feel?
Whew. That's my favorite part, is the live show, and that's the energy that we bring to it, especially playing with these 4 other guys. It's like that's what really opened my eyes to the project and everything. It's just the live show. It's just a different. We're all pretty crazy, but it's like it's just a switch that we know how to turn on, and when it turns on, it's just it's magic. It's fun.
It's Budderside.
Budderside.
It really is.
Speaking of Budderside, I had asked, that was the very first question that I had asked when Patrick and I spoke about what does Budderside mean, and he said something
Next
beautiful.
question.
About the way you feel and like the way you think when you listen to music you really love, right? Especially like Budderside. So when you guys joined the band, that name had already been established. And how did you feel about the name then? And how do you feel about it now that you've created all this beautiful music together?
Next question.
Oh my God, wow.
The way I see it is, it's kind of like the Ramones. What does that mean, the Ramones? I know what it means, but it's a long story that involves Paul McCartney going to hotels and signing up as, you know, Don Ramon or whatever, and that's where it comes from. But the Ramones doesn't really mean anything, but yet they're like one of the biggest bands in history of punk rock, if not the biggest, you know, along with the Sex Pistols. But yeah, like, what does it mean? Nothing. You know, like Budderside
Fucking nothing,
really
man.
just, yeah, it means nothing, man. Like, what's gonna happen? Nothing. I mean, it's just a word. It's like the Ramones or Paramore. You know, like, what does that mean?
Wow.
Yeah, it's actually not even a real word. Well, no, actually it is. No.
It is.
Yeah. Butter.
It's a word.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, Butter came, I mean, the name was, you know, it's the anti-cliche, you know what I mean? It's not taking ourselves too seriously. It's Budderside. You know what I mean?
Honestly, like,
it's an air. There's an air to it. I mean, when I said it for the first time, it was like, you know, it was just like, I don't know. It was like it's something that you do understand. You know, I'm talking to execs at, you know, companies now that are working with the top bands, you know, that are out there. Bands getting 7 million streams, you know, and these guys are replying back, you know, about how excited they are about Budderside, and it's in text and emails, and it's like people are getting it, you know what I mean? And it's like the name comes up a lot, and my favorite answer is when Sam came up with that, is all the good names were taken. That's exactly the idea behind it. It's like,
that's the best one.
It's like, if we named ourselves something else, I think we're selling ourselves short. It's like, we don't want to be locked into one kind of definition. It's like, it is what it is. It's spelled the way it is. You can't find anything else when you look it up on the internet and you spell it right. We're what comes up. You know,
all about those double D's.
And honestly,
triple D's.
Trying to come up with a name is just like, trying to come up with a name is really hard.
Yeah, isn't that?
It's really difficult.
It is.
That's the funniest thing, is we have spent hours and hours and hours. Like, there was definitely a point where we were like, okay, if we're going to rename the band, it's going to be Now. And we went back and forth. We must have sent each other back and forth or discussed, I mean, hundreds of names. And it's like, every time it just leaves you kind of in this, I don't know, there's something about the name, and maybe it'll explain itself more so when we're standing up there in front of hundreds of thousands of people every night playing. And people are screaming it out, you know, chanting us for an encore, saying the name out loud, you know. But I do notice one thing, and that is when people fall in love with the band and they say the name, they get it. You know what I mean? There's something about it, you know.
We're also children.
As somebody who's
we lost Gabe.
Yeah, I figured that as much. But I will say, as somebody who's been listening to you, Budderside is starting to mean something to me. It means you guys and the way I feel when you listen to you. So that's why I'd asked, how did you feel at first? Because at first you're like, should I be looking this up? Is this a word I'm supposed to know? Because I clearly don't know it. But no, you're definitely. Look at your bass player.
I'm not even gonna look at him. I felt it. Like,
this is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. But no, I'm definitely getting a sense of what Budderside means to me as somebody who's become a fan very quickly and really likes your music. There's definitely a feeling. There's definitely an energy. It hits all the notes of all the different kinds of rock and even metal, even though you're not necessarily a straight metal band, but it hits all those notes that I really like from all the different kinds of music that fall under that sort of metal umbrella. But definitely super current, super energy filled. And I have to say, I found a clip of you guys somewhere doing Amber Alert acoustically. In fact, it might have been on that couch. It might have been one of your Instagram lives. And you guys,
the other couch.
Yeah.
It was the other couch. Okay. You guys sounded amazing. Patrick, your voice is just absolutely stunning. And I think that's when you really get to hear how amazing your voice is when like the five of you just on a couch or on your drum kit playing. And I did wonder, I was imagining your live show is going to be like just an amazing rock show. Like everybody's running around and it's going to be like high energy in that. But I did wonder just given how beautiful that song translates into acoustic, is that something you guys see yourself doing in a live show, is picking a song, sitting down and just playing an acoustic song? Or is that something that we're not likely to see?
Oh, no. Well, I mean, I would love that. Personally, I would totally love that. But I think it's, we got to wait till we have that, that time.
Yeah, honestly.
We did go out. Jeff couldn't join us for the first two shows, I think, for our tour, our first tour together. What was it? Year of 2019. He couldn't make the first two shows, so we did acoustic versions of the entire set, and that was, I mean, even though Jeff wasn't there, and that was horrible. I enjoyed it so much. It was really cool. I mean, I love stripping away everything. It's like I really get to sing. You know what I mean? I really get to the songs kind of. It's not so much screaming or putting all that, but yeah, I would love to break it down at some point when we have a 2-hour set and we're doing just, you know what I mean? It'd be really cool to break it down. At this point, you know what I mean? We're only giving them a allotted amount of time. Usually we're opening for another act, and it's just like, we just want to rip your face off and then walk off like, ha, you know?
Ha ha.
No, it's a lot of fun up there. So when we have that, we got a lot of it. No, that's still.
And it's just fun to reimagine things sometimes, especially like Amber Alert. I mean, that's a song that's pretty heavy, but to reimagine it and kind of like, I think I tuned the guitar kind of open and like to try to do it in a different way is fun to do. So that'd be fun to do at some point for sure.
Yeah,
Again,
again, referencing the Chili Peppers, like Gabe was saying the other day.
Or Alice in Chains.
I mean, and
or
again,
Guns N'
Nirvana.
Roses, or any band that we
yeah,
like.
again, like that thing Dave Grohl just did with the what drives us. He mentioned that, like, you know, that's the cool thing about going to a show is that like something spontaneous could happen, or like, you know, you get to witness something that like you don't get from the record. And we like to do that too. There's a lot of things we do differently live than on the record, you know.
Yeah.
But breaking it down, definitely, yeah, hell yeah. If our fans are into it, you know, for sure. Yeah.
We just need a cello player and like some candles.
Yeah,
Somebody bring up,
we just need
you
some
know,
candles.
candles.
That's all I need. Some candles
And a cello player.
and a cello.
Good job.
So when you guys plan your next tour, when you are able to tour for real in a real way, are you planning on coming to Boston? Because if you don't, I'll be really upset with you. Where are you planning on going? What's your hope? What cities you're hoping heading? And are you leaving the US, or are you just doing a US tour in the beginning?
Anywhere and everywhere that we possibly can.
That's the goal.
So like
Yeah.
Florida, what else?
There's
Florida,
gonna,
Texas.
there's gonna be a big announcement next week. There's some cool stuff. We're doing some really cool stuff, and surrounding that will definitely be a US, you know, a trip. I don't want to be that meme from the other day where it says like, anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
Yeah,
The three shows, and they call it.
We got
a tour.
3
Oh,
shows,
yeah.
so pack the band. We're going on tour, boys.
So it's
Yeah.
spelled like TOOR.
Yeah, tour, right?
Tour.
No, but we're gonna be going at least past Tennessee, past we're going as far as I think St. Louis, maybe farther, depending on what opens up to us. Coming out of COVID like this, you know what I mean? A lot of the more established groups have things that they were putting off, so now they're finally able to do those. So they've had this stuff in the works forever, where we're kind of like in a position where we're going to be taking scraps until about our, you know, the release of our new stuff. And then I think things are going to pick up for us. But we've already got Europe is tentatively, we're just waiting on the starting date and the ending date. That's been in the works for us. So we're going to go over to Europe for at least a month in the fall. I think we're hitting Japan in the winter. But the US, yeah, definitely. We want to come up. I mean, I want to come and see you, and I want to get up to New York, and you know, those are everywhere. We want to be
As soon as
everywhere.
possible.
As soon
Yeah,
as possible.
yeah. We plan on, like, that's why we're working so hard right now to have enough content to deliver to you, that like there's enough to release as we're on the road. And you know, as soon as we start, we want to start touring, and we don't ever want to come home.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I mean, eventually I want to come home.
Eventually.
But yeah, life on the road's fun. It becomes your home. And
Yeah. All right, guys. So where can people find you? Where can people find your albums, your videos, and anything else that they want to learn about you?
You can start at Budderside.com. That links out to everything. But the Instagram is a big thing.
Instagram is probably our biggest one.
Budderside on Instagram. But it's everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Linktree, Budderside.
Yeah, just spell it right. If you're on
Check
a
out our
computer,
SoundCloud.
if you're on a phone or a computer, BUDDERSIDE. If you spell it right, you're gonna find us.
Again, that's BUDDERSIDE.
1-800.
Well, and I'm gonna have all the main links down below as well, so people can click down below and find everything. So that'll be
Awesome.
great. All right, guys. So for anybody at home who has not seen my video with Patrick, definitely check that out. That will be linked below as well. Make sure you go to Budderside.com, follow them on Instagram, check them out, listen to their album, watch all of the videos, and most importantly, subscribe to metalnettv. Give this video a like and leave really nice comments for everybody, even Logan, even though Logan didn't join us today.
Even Logan. What a sweetheart. There you go.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And I'm super excited about what you've been doing. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys do next.
Awesome.
Thanks for having
Thank you
us.
very much.
Thanks so
Thank
much for
you.
your support. Thank you.
Rock and roll.